Marlo Hampton, welcome to Tell a Friend. And I wanted to just, first of all, start off by asking you, how does it feel now that you're a peach holder? How does that?
It feels amazing. I think it finally has sunken in. So I'm really a peach holder. It feels great. The Hamptons, I know, are happy. I know the people are happy. So it's just an amazing feeling.
And, obviously, you've been a fan favorite, you've been on the show for a long time now. Has that been a weird adjustment, going from obviously as you were a friend of, and now, you're really, running the season at the moment, from the way
Ryan, to be honest with you, it has not been an adjustment because this is my turf. This is home. And I just feel that I've been here. I know the girls. I speak what's on my mind. I'm very opinionated. It's just great to have the title, and it's great for the Hamptons, all of my followers and fans who have loved and supported me over the years, to finally just see me get the title. It was like I never knew the title was so important. I thought just having me was enough, but having the title has made so many people happy, and I'm happy because guess what? You get to see so much more of Marlo. You get to see where I'm from. You get to see all the different sides of me. So I'm just super excited to share that with the world.
And I wanted to also ask about, your early life and growing up, because, we see so much of you on the show. And, like we've mentioned, you're a very big character on the show. Can you talk to me about, what it was like, for a young Marlo, growing up, and, tell us a bit more about what shaped, the person we see today.
The young Marlo, I came from humble beginnings, super humble beginnings, being raised by a single mother in Clearwater, Florida, in the projects. Um, I wouldn't take it back. I thank God for it. At the time, I wish my story was different. I hated my story. We had welfare. We had to hang our clothes out on the line. We struggled. And you went to school and you were picked on because I wasn't that popular. I was tall and skinny, big feet, didn't have the best clothes on at that time. And I just thank God for it because it shaped and molded me into the strong, independent, stand-up woman I am today. So I just feel that my story has been amazing. Even what some people will look at and say, oh my God, she had a rough life. It was rough, but I wonder if I would have had it easy, would I be as eager? Would I be as hardworking? Would I be as giving and loving? So this is just Marlo. I can't fault my upbringing, my life path. This is my story, my truth.
And, I'm going to ask my next question cautiously, and, feel free to pass on it if you don't want to talk about it. But, when I was doing my research before the interview and I was reading about you growing up in the foster care system, I just wanted to talk about that and see how that shaped you. Did it make you more resilient? What was that experience like for you?
Growing up in foster care, it was tough in the beginning, Bryan. I didn't feel love. I felt I didn't feel worthy. I felt certain foster homes I would go to, I was not allowed a key to the house. When I got out of school, if they wasn't there, I had to sit outside, even if it was raining. I never got new Christmas gifts. I always got hand-me-downs from HRS, Department of DFACS. I never felt as equal to the person's biological child that was in the family. So that's one of the reasons why I started my nonprofit, Glam It Up, to where I want every foster child I encounter to know you are worthy, you are amazing, you are worth whatever you put your mind to, you are worthy of new items and new things, you are worthy of the world. Because growing up now, it's even worse with social media. I didn't have that in my day. And it's just my duty and my job to make sure all the up and coming foster girls know that they are the world, baby. We are everything. We're the future, and our future is bright. So growing up in foster care, to get back to your question, it was amazing. It was a stepping stone, even though I had my bad days, but I don't regret anything, Bryan. I think everything I've experienced made me be here today, or either you wouldn't be talking to me.
And And I think, especially watching you, from the few episodes of this recent series, we can see a growth in, in you. And I think, well, that's natural, everyone grows. But I can definitely see it in you in terms of, looking at you and the way that you're looking after your nephews. um, there's a huge growth there. And even the way that you're interacting with other people, you can see, a change in, how all of that happens. But I wanted to ask you, talking about the change, talking about the way that social media, can be vicious sometimes.
Yes.
How do you navigate that? The way that people talk about you.
Usually with a cocktail and God. Cocktail and God makes a lot of things a lot easier. But I just do it. At the age where I'm at today and the experience I have, I'm just at a point in my life where you don't cry. You can cry, but you get 10 minutes to cry. And after those 10 minutes, it's like, what's the next fucking move? I don't sit and just, oh my God, this should have happened. I just figure shit out and I do what I have to do because I wasn't handed anything on a silver platter. So the extraness I do is for everything I missed growing up as a child, everything that I see, I would have been able to, everything that I see and I read in the books, like, wow, I never experienced that. And guess what? I'm going to try and experience it now as an adult. I'm going to try and show Michael and William as much as I can and let them experience things because there was so much I didn't experience. And once I got into being able to have money to do some of the finer things, it was like, wow, it's like new money, but it's just amazing to just experience the lifestyle. And when you know better, you do better, right?
And what I find so fascinating, on the show, especially looking at you and looking at the way that you're even spoken about outside the show, is this whole discussion about money. People are always trying to come at you at that. And my next question was going to be asking you, whenever you hear that kind of discourse around yourself, do you think it's rooted in misogyny?
Wait, when I hear about the money, well, I told someone earlier I was interviewing about how people always are talking about my money and where I get it from. At this point of 10 years, it's comical, like I just told the last interviewer, because on this show, you have Sheree, who has a fabulous mansion.
Mhm.
Spring, summer, winter, and fall, and winter, you still can't buy joggers. And she live in a home 50 times the size of my townhome. Drew, of course, we see her here and there in different movies that she pops up in, made to TV or made for home films. Kenya, my number one hater. Her products are only on the South Side CVS that she never goes to. She doesn't even go to Decatur where I'm building my new home. So I know she doesn't go to the South Side of Atlanta. And I mean, it's not national distribution. So it's just comical. Like, where do they get their money from? What are they doing for finances? So it's just like, let these girls talk. Every time they have an interview, they have to talk about me. So it's like, hey, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing my job. They're talking.
And yeah, like you're saying, even when before you had the peach, everyone was talking about you.
Everyone, like another thing, and not to be cocky, I came on this show and I didn't need a blow up. I came on this show already blown. I came on here with Gucci runway head to toe. I came on here owning my own boutique. I was recruited. The girls filmed at my boutique, I want to say season 3. So, guess what? If you just do the Google, the research, they know what it is. I've always been Marlo Hampton. I'm that girl. And these girls, their fashion has changed for me. They've taken notes and they're still taking notes. And it's like, hey, I'm just here to be an instructor. They just don't want to give me credit because they're mad of my upbringing and I didn't have their upbringing. But we all know what it is.
And I also wanted to, my next question is based on, looking at Twitter, looking at the conversation that have been taking place there about the disparities between the way that the Atlanta franchise is treated versus other franchises. And I wanted to, just ask you whether, is there any weight to that discussion, and what your views are about the disparity?
You know what? Whenever I feel I have an issue on if I'm not being treated fairly or I don't like anything, I go straight to the horse. So I can contact our production company or Bravo. People are gonna on the outside looking in, they're gonna look and they're gonna say, "Oh, they do this for Beverly Hills and they don't do this for you." But at the end of the day, everything's done depending on what you allow. And one thing I'm very open and opinionated on what I feel like, hey, if I don't like this dressing room or if I don't like this. So it's just, it is what it is. But I feel that Bravo is amazing with taking care of us. If we have an issue, we go to them, we address it, and 9 times out of 10, it's taken care of. They want to make us happy. So that's all that matters to me.
And continuing on the line of Twitter, like I mentioned earlier on, Real Housewives of Atlanta is very big, not only in the gay community but worldwide.
Boy.
And Atlanta franchise has definitely changed the language. And when we talk about white refrigerator, when we they've it's shaped our language. But I wanted to ask you, when you see people like Nene, people like yourself, Sheree Kenya, when you're being used on social media and when people are now trying to adopt your language, do you ever feel a certain kind of way about that? Or, how do you process it?
What do you mean when they're trying to adopt our language?
In the sense that, and maybe I'm kind of forcing this question onto you, oftentimes I see, Black women especially becoming memes and, being spoken about on social media. Do you ever feel odd about that? Do you ever feel
No, because I feel that we're on a platform where millions of people are going to see us and they're going to be opinionated. They're going to have their views. And even if it's a meme, guess what? That's good for us. If you're being talked about, you're being thought about. So, no, it feels good. I mean, me actually, like I tell you, coming from South Side, St. Pete, me seeing a meme, I made it. When I go to St. Pete, I made it. I'm your Michelle Obama back home. When I go on Walmart and I stand behind you in line and I see if you're paying, you're struggling, or if you're telling the kids to put that back, and I look at the cashier and I say, I'm going to take care of that, I'm good. So where I'm from, I'm the Michelle Obama. Maybe where you're from or where someone else is from, I'm not. But I feel that I'm a giver. I love my community. And I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I'm happy. I'm happy with the memes. I'm happy with some things people may look that's belittling us. But guess what? It's not to me, because we have two different upbringings and we have different values and different standards because we have different upbringings.
And building on that, something that I really wanted to talk about, if you're comfortable with it, is, we saw Kenya going on the Wendy Williams show, and, the comment about, your past, didn't really land that well. And I saw that on Instagram, you came back at it and you really, embraced your past, and you, spoke about, you're not ashamed of it and how it's helped you become the person you are. And I really wanted to just ask you about, hearing that, how did you feel, with the attack?
Over the years, I've been attacked for the last 10 years about my past. Does it feel good? Absolutely not. But it is a part of me. I can pay to have it covered. I will not. Like I tell everyone, it's a friendly reminder of where I came from and where I never want to go again. But it's awful when you see another African American sister who, to see that I have the exact same platform that she has. I sit right where she sits, and she's raising another African American female to try and belittle me because of my past. She has a past, a dark past. I have one, but guess what? Look at me today. My past shaped me into this bright, beautiful future. And that's all I'm worried about. I'm not worried about what happened back then, or I wouldn't have no relationship with my mother, or I would not care about my sister. But that was back then. I'm worried about what's right here today and what's ahead of me. And ahead of me, everything is shining. It's bright like the rainbow. It's bright. A pot of gold is at the end of it. And I'm going after that pot of gold.
And you know what? I think this is why you became a fan favorite, because you've always been real. And, even when people look at, your first appearance on the show, never hid from your past. You've always been very upfront about it. And I just wanted to now move on to a quick fire round of questions that I do with all of my guests. And first of all, I wanted you to, complete the sentence. The biggest misconception about me is...
Oh, Lord, what's the biggest misconception? I only date white men.
I want to be remembered for...
being my authentic self.
My biggest regret is...
None.
My legacy is...
being Marlo Hampton and my nephews.
Marlo Hampton, thank you so much for joining me on Tell a Friend. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed it. You are such a blast and a pleasure.